Welcome back to the game, everyone. We've fought off the wolves, the wandering monsters that were here guarding the entrance to the crypts, and we're going to need to continue exploring now. Our party's going to reform. Once again, we're out of combat, not so worried about positioning and counting squares at this point in time. I think we're going to have our rogue explore to the north. Weapons ready. I think we're going to give our fighter here his bow. This guy's going to keep his javelin guarding the back. The cleric's over here. The wizard still around the steps. And let's see if we find anything in this direction. I've got some treasure tokens here I was thinking about using, but not with the wandering monsters. Only when we find a tile with a black triangle will I consider that kind of a treasure spot. So let's continue to explore. We're going to explore to the north. We've got a white triangle. So it's not a monster lair. Let's see if we have any wandering monsters in this position. No. You see it says 0, so no monster there. Alright, we're going to hold our formation here. The warrior keeping the bow, trying to support the rogue who's trying to be stealthy and check out what is in this direction. And we've got another tile that is possibly monster free. Let's see if there's any monster wandering around in this location. Ah, yes there is. And it should be another easy encounter, but what is it? I don't know. Let's find out with a card draw. I'm going to shuffle these up again. I think I'm going to hold them under the table this time and just draw one at random. And we've got another encounter, which is a trap again. A crossbow turret. Alright, well I only had 2 trap cards in the stack and I've managed to draw both of them. So, crossbow turret. Let's see if we can find this in the Dungeon Master's Guide and see if there's a chance to spot it and disarm it. Hopefully we can do a little better this time. The closest I can see here is a poison dart mechanical trap. Now I thought there may have been some guidelines. Yeah, here are some guidelines if you want to just put your own trap together. If it's a setback, dangerous, or deadly. Probably we're just looking at setbacks right now. This is a save DC in order to get out of it. This is the attack bonus for the trap. And this is kind of the damage you're looking at. So I don't know if I necessarily want to go along with the poison darts. That could be a bit much, but I wonder if we should go with the sample or create our own. Why don't we try just creating our own since we went with a sample before? So why don't we say once again to spot the trap. What was it to spot that net? It was a DC 10. I would imagine this might be a little harder. Probably going along, would it be a pressure plate or something that would trigger this? Well, a pair of armored crossbow turrets emerge from the wall to pepper you with quarrels. Probably some sort of pressure plate device. First, let's see if our rogue spots anything like this. So we'll do a perception check. Alright, we don't really have a bonus on perception, and I'm not aware of any sort of expertise or efficiency or any sort of bonus that the thief or rogue would get for noticing traps. So I guess it's just a straight perception roll. We got an 8. Is that an 18? No, it's a 16. We've got a 16 on the perception check, so that's good enough. The pressure plate is now spotted. So now we can decide whether we want to disarm it or whether we want to avoid it. Why don't we just avoid it? The trap has been spotted. If we enter into that room, we're going to trigger the trap. So let's stay out of there and explore in another direction. Good job, Rogue. We'll stay at it. Alright, our fighter is going to move up a little bit. The cleric beside him, the wizard in the back, and the warrior guarding the side. Here, our rogue is going to scout ahead again, staying close to the walls, trying to hide in the shadows and take a peek in this direction. Well, now we've got our first black tile, so there's definitely a combat encounter here of some type. All the traps have been drawn, so this is going to be a monster of some type. What do we have? Skeletons. So now we need to create our encounter. Get our budget together and put some skeletons here. I don't know how many we're going to have, but we've got skeletons in this hallway here, and the rogue has spotted them. So let's see what happens. Now, if you remember, we were going to choose whether this was an easy, medium, or hard encounter. And I'm using these tiles for that. So I'm just going to choose one and see if it has a 1, 2, or a 3 on it. We've got another 1, so this should be an easy encounter. Well, here's our monster manual and our skeleton entry. The skeleton is a challenge of 1/4. It's going to be worth 50 experience points. I guess it's kind of like the wolf. So with our basic budget, we're probably looking at 2 skeletons. Alright, well, let's imagine that these 2 skeletons are guards. Their passive perception is 9. So I'm going to have the rogue here make a stealth check to see if he can beat a target number of 9. If he can, he remains undetected. If he misses it, the skeletons notice and the combat encounter will begin. Alright, the rogue has a +7 on the stealth check. This should be pretty easy. And we didn't roll so great. We rolled a 7, but that's a 14. That's greater than a 9. So our rogue remains hidden and undetected by the skeletons. Probably set as guards, this must be an important place, an important direction that we want to go. The rogue would have a decision now whether to jump into combat by himself or report back to the party about what he sees. Probably he would do that. He would report back and say, we've got a couple of skeleton guards, but they didn't see me. So here we could make a decision to start scouting in a different direction. But if we encounter something else, we might attract and alert the guards to follow us over there. Maybe we want to try something I haven't done yet, which is a surprise attack. Let's see what surprise does in 5th edition. Well, it looks pretty simple. If you're surprised, you can't move or take an action on your first turn of combat. So we should be able to attack the skeletons without them being able to defend themselves. So thanks to the rogue scouting ahead, the party's going to change up here. Going to move into position. We'll put the fighters in the front. And we're going to let them charge in with swords. So let's see what they can do. Movement here, 6 squares. 5, 10, 15, 20. He's going to make an attack with his sword. I believe he's using a great sword, since he is the folk hero. And +4 to the attack. I think our target is a 13, and we just rolled a 15, so that's a hit. Damage is 2d6 +2 slashing. Skeletons in 5th edition don't seem to have the damage of these slashing weapons and piercing weapons. Instead, they seem to be vulnerable to blunt weapons. So we're just going to do regular damage here, 2d6 +2. Alright, here's the damage. A 5 and a 1 is a 6, plus 2, so 8 damage, slashing damage. Let's check out the hit points for the skeletons. Alright, each skeleton has 13 hit points. We just did 8, so this skeleton is down to 5 hit points. Now, unlike the previous edition, I can still move. So I wonder if we want to make some room for some of the other adventurers to come in and make their attack. So we moved 5, 10, 15, 20. But I don't think we can move again unless we make some sort of disengage movement. We might provoke an attack of opportunity if we do that. Let's talk about, or let's take a look at this options in combat and what some of the maneuvers are. You've got your attack and spells. There's something called a dash, which means, you know, you get your movement and then as your action, you run again. So this basically lets you move twice. It's basically taking a move and a move. Disengage. Here's disengage. It is an action, and you're allowed to make a move without provoking attacks of opportunity. Dodging gives you an advantage on your dexterity saving throws. I guess maybe opponents attack you with disadvantage. Here's help. This is interesting. When you take a help action, the creature you aid gains advantage on the next ability check it makes to perform a task you're helping it with. I wonder if that would include attacks. Oh, here it is. Alternatively, you can aid a friendly creature in attacking a creature within 5 feet of you. You can distract the target, but that's going to take an action to do that. Alright, well, I don't think we're going to move our fighter. We're going to keep him in his position there. Otherwise, that skeleton's going to get a free attack against him. So he's going to hold position. Let's let the other fighter come in, and I don't think would he provoke there? I'm not sure. I think they only provoke when they're leaving, right? Well, I'm actually learning something here. It looks like you can move around a creature. It's just that if you move out of the enemy's reach, if you start to move out of the enemy's reach, you provoke an attack of opportunity. So if I'm understanding that right, he could have made his attack and sort of continued to move around here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. He could move on down to there. And it looks like he can as well. And then make his attack against this skeleton. For any of you with more experience than 5th edition, if that's not right, let me know. But it looks like things are a little different. It used to be if you moved from one square to another in the previous edition, you would provoke an attack. But it looks like here, if I try to move out of engaging with this opponent, then I'm going to provoke. So there's no real shifting maneuver as there used to be in 4th edition. So let's make our attack against this skeleton with the noble. Alright, our great axe is +5. 19, excellent, that's a 24. 1d12 plus 3. 1d12 plus 3. Well, that's only a 2. That's 5 damage to the skeleton. So that skeleton's going to be reduced to 8. Alright, so they're damaged, but they're still up and dangerous.